is a thought experiment. Two people, same bank balance, same income, same financial circumstances on paper. The first person moves through their financial life from permission. Every decision passes through an internal checkpoint. Can I afford this? Should I spend this? Is this justified? The money they have feels like a finite resource to be carefully rationed. When they spend, something tightens slightly. When they save, something loosens. The relationship with money is fundamentally one of management, of careful stewardship over something that could run out. The second person moves through their financial life from a different inner position entirely, not recklessness, not indifference to money, something more precise than either of those. They spend from an awareness of what their time and energy generate. They save because accumulation is natural to someone who produces. When they make a financial decision, they are not asking, can I afford this? They are asking, does this serve what I am building? The money is not a finite resource to be rationed. It is an expression of a generative capacity that does not deplete when it is expressed. Same balance, same income, completely different inner architecture. And here is what matters for this program. The outer results will diverge. Not immediately, not dramatically at first, but consistently, because the subconscious executes what it assumes. And those two people are assuming fundamentally different things about what they are. The first assumes they are a recipient. Wealth is something that arrives from a job, from a deal, from circumstances aligning in their favor. Their relationship with money is essentially passive. They are on the receiving end of a flow they do not control. The second assumes they are a source. Wealth is something they generate through their time, their decisions, their inner authority. The flow moves through them outward. They are not waiting for it. They are producing it. This distinction, source versus recipient, is the weight we are adding today. And here is how it shows up in the most ordinary moments, not in large financial decisions, in small ones. Something in your life breaks down, an appliance, a system, something that has been causing friction and now needs to be addressed. You have two options in front of you. The cheaper fix, the one that addresses the symptom, buys some time, defers the real solution. And the thorough fix, the one that costs more now but resolves the issue completely so you never think about it again. The recipient runs the calculation from scarcity. What is the minimum I can spend right now to make this problem go away temporarily? Because money is finite and the cheaper option preserves more of it. The source runs a completely different calculation. My time is worth something. Every hour I spend managing a recurring problem is an hour I am not generating. The thorough fix costs more money and saves time. And time, for a source, is the more valuable resource because time is what generates the money. That decision, made quietly, without drama, in the direction of the thorough fix, is the source assumption expressing itself in ordinary life. Not a grand gesture, not a statement. A small, intelligent, self-respecting decision that says, I know what my time is worth, and what it is worth is more than the saving on the cheaper option. That is what we are training today. That inner position, that quiet authority. The self that decides from an awareness of its own generative value rather than from the management of a finite resource. Today, the scene is heavier than session 3, more specific, more resistance. You are dealing with something that needs to be fixed, something in your home or your workspace, an appliance, a system, something that has been creating friction. You have had the conversation with whoever is handling it. 2 options are in front of you. The cheaper fix, quicker, less disruptive today, but temporary. You will be dealing with this again, probably sooner than you would like. The thorough fix, more expensive, but complete. After this, you do not think about it again. It is resolved, and the time you would have spent managing the recurring problem goes back to you, to the work that actually generates. Notice what the decision feels like from the source position, not agonizing, not requiring extended calculation. The arithmetic is simple when you know what your time is worth. The thorough fix is the obvious choice, not because you are wealthy enough to be indifferent to cost, because you are clear enough about your own generative value to recognize that the saving on the cheaper option is not actually a saving at all. You authorize the thorough fix easily, without the residue of doubt that would follow a decision made from permission. And in that authorization, quiet, matter-of-fact, completely unremarkable to the version of you making it, is the source assumption fully expressed. That is the rep today. Find your position, close your eyes when the music begins. Let the countdown bring you in. 10. Arriving here, the day already further away. 9. Breath coming on its own, nothing to control. 8. The body beginning to release. It knows what comes next. 7. Sounds moving to the background. You are moving inward. 6. Weight growing. Heaviness spreading. Safe. 5. The thinking mind stepping back. Thoughts passing without catching. 4. Deeper. The space between thoughts widening naturally. 3. The analytical mind quiet now. 2. The last trace of the day releasing. 1. Here, still, open. The body softening now without instruction. The feet and legs releasing. The hips and lower back giving their weight back to the surface beneath you. The stomach loosening, the chest opening, the shoulders descending, the hands warm and still, the jaw releasing, the face emptying, the crown of the head quiet, one field, heavy, switched off, at rest. The breath finding its own rhythm. Each exhale a small movement further in. The body becoming background, awareness becoming foreground. You are at the threshold, the place where the subconscious is fully open, where feeling registers as fact, where the state you occupy becomes the instruction the inner mind executes without question. You have been here before. The body recognizes it. Let it deepen on its own. Now let a moment arrive, not constructed by you, simply allowed to surface, already happening, already real. Something needed to be addressed, something that had been creating friction, an appliance, a system, something in the home or workspace that was not functioning as it should. The details are already known to your subconscious. It has already filled them in, and the decision has already been made. The thorough fix, the complete resolution, the choice that costs more now and returns your time completely. So this never requires your attention again. Notice the body in the aftermath of that decision, not the cost of it. What arrived when it was made? A settledness, a completeness, the particular quality of a decision that required nothing to justify it. No second voice asking whether it was warranted. No part of you running the numbers from scarcity. Just the clear, quiet movement of someone who knew immediately which choice served what they are building. Stay with that quality for a moment. Let it become more specific in the body. Where exactly does it live? The chest, notice whether something there has opened slightly. The kind of opening that happens when a decision has been made completely and nothing in you is second-guessing it. The shoulders, notice whether they carry something different than they did before the decision. A slight reduction in a weight you had stopped noticing was there. The breath, notice its rhythm, the even, undisturbed quality of breath that belongs to someone who is not managing an unresolved problem. The issue is resolved permanently, and the time that would have been spent managing it again, that time is returned to you, to the work that generates, to the life that moves forward without that particular drag on it. Let that return time be felt as a physical spaciousness. Something that was slightly contracted, the background awareness of an unresolved problem, the low hum of something not quite finished has released completely. And in its place is simply room. Open, available, yours. Now notice something about the version of you who made that decision. They did not agonize. They did not require permission from anyone or anything outside themselves. They ran a clear, simple calculation, not from scarcity, but from an accurate understanding of their own generative value. My time produces. The cheaper fix costs me that production time. The thorough fix preserves it. The choice was obvious the moment it was seen clearly. That clarity, that particular quality of knowing what you are worth and making decisions accordingly, is not a financial achievement. It is an inner position, an assumption about what you are and what you are here to do. And that assumption is what the subconscious is receiving right now. Not the scene, not the appliance, not the amount of money involved. The state beneath all of it. The inner architecture of someone who moves through financial decisions as a source rather than a recipient. Someone for whom the question is never, can I afford this? But does this serve what I generate? Let that inner architecture become more present in the body now. Feel where authority lives physically, not as a posture, not as a performance, the quiet, grounded certainty of someone who knows their own generative value. Settled, unforced, simply present in its own authority. Somewhere in the spine, perhaps, a quiet uprightness that does not require effort to maintain. Or in the chest, an openness without vulnerability, a steadiness that comes not from having everything figured out, but from knowing what you are. Find where it lives in you, let it become slightly more familiar with each breath, not stronger, more natural, the way something becomes natural when it has been practiced long enough that the body stops noticing it is doing it. This belongs to you. It has always belonged to you. The version of you that exists beneath the conditioning was never a recipient, was always at the level of consciousness, a source, a generator, the cause of its experience rather than its effect. You are not arriving at this. You are returning to it. The return may feel unfamiliar at first, that is correct. Anything reclaimed after a long absence feels unfamiliar before it feels like home. Let the unfamiliarity be present without letting it become doubt. Unfamiliarity is simply the gap between where the conditioning placed you and where consciousness actually lives. Stay here. Let that gap close slightly with each exhale. The conditioning says, be careful, there is not enough, manage what you have. Consciousness says, generate, the source does not run out. What flows through you does not deplete you. Let consciousness be louder than the conditioning right now, not through effort, simply through presence, through remaining here at the depth where conditioning does not reach and consciousness speaks without interference. And underneath the feeling, underneath the scene and the body and the quiet, something more fundamental is present. This is what Goddard meant by the operant power. You are not acted upon. You act. You are not the effect of your financial circumstances. You are their cause. Consciousness, your consciousness, is the generative source of the reality it inhabits. Not someday, not once the circumstances improve. Now, from here, from this inner position you are occupying at this moment. What you are assuming now is not a fantasy of wealth. It is the truth of what you are at the level where truth actually lives. This is registering now, completely, at a level beneath language and beneath thought. The body knows, the inner mind knows. No part of you needs to confirm it. Stay here a moment longer. Let the source position deepen without your direction. The subconscious does not need you to maintain it. It is already holding it, already executing it, already beginning to reorganize the outer world around the inner architecture you have just occupied. Let it be unremarkable. Let it be simply who you are. Now the words that match what is already here, not statements to be believed. Recognitions of what is already true. I generate. I do not wait. My time produces. That production is worth more than I have been accounting for. I decide from authority. I decide from knowing, not from permission, not from what I can afford to lose, from what I am worth. I know what I am worth. The thorough choice is obvious when I see from this position. The complete resolution is always the correct one. Because my time is the resource that matters most, and time spent not generating, time spent managing what could have been resolved is the only real cost. I am a source, not becoming one, already one. At the level of consciousness, which is the only level that produces anything, I have always been one. The assumption is set. The subconscious has received it completely. The outer world is already beginning to reorganize around it. I do not need to watch for evidence. Evidence is the last thing to arrive. The assumption is the first, and the assumption is already in place. Now let the body hold everything the session has given it. A felt experience of the source position held with more weight than last time, with the same clean form. The bar was heavier today. The form held. That is the rep complete. That is session 4 done. And in the hours and days that follow, without manufacturing it, without looking for it, you may notice something different in the way you approach decisions. A moment where the calculation ran from a different starting point, where the question was not, can I afford this, but does this serve what I generate? Where a choice was made from the inside out rather than from the outside in. Where something that used to require permission arrived already authorized. You will not create these moments. They will simply appear because the assumption trained tonight is already executing, already projecting outward, already reorganizing the outer world around the inner position you just occupied. Rest now. Let the music carry you from here. No more direction needed. No more effort required. The work is done. The source assumption holds itself. Let it become slightly more familiar than it was an hour ago. Slightly more yours. Slightly more simply what you have always been.